How's it going, people? It's your boy Profection back again, this time with Nofap 2019. I have done about 4 of these videos and I'm struggling because I don't want to make it sound boring. I really don't. The other videos I am happy with though. I am happy with the other videos because they're important videos. They have to sound a certain way. This one here, Nofap 2019, I want it to be interesting to you guys. So this is probably about the 3rd take, so I'm going to try and skip out ahead of a lot of things and just get to the things that people really want to hear, really. Right, so what is Nofap? Nofap to me personally means no frequently accessing pornography. Okay, no frequently accessing porn. The problem with that is that there's no such thing as basically there's no way of gauging porn, because porn in the 2000, from what I remember, from about 2000, probably from the late 90s, yeah, up until 2000, say 10, okay, maybe even early 90s, was the biggest selling industry. I mean, people talk about it like it's taboo or whatever. There's nothing taboo about it. Okay, in America it was the biggest grossing industry, so it's not like it's not like it's just weirdos sitting down in some sort of in their basement watching porn. It affects everyone, especially our younger generation, because now if I want porn, I simply pick up my phone and within literally 15 seconds I'm watching pornography. It's that accessible, whereas when I was younger it wasn't. It was a struggle. You had to walk into a shop and that was to get a porn mag. I remember, like, the videos, you had to go into the centre of London, which is Soho, and it was like 30 to 40 pounds a video. It was big money. This is why they made so much money from it, and it was obvious that it was addictive. Especially for younger people, because you're not having sex at that age. So it's not a taboo subject. It's okay to discuss it. It is that big. So where was I going with this? So with something like pornography, you can't gauge it. So no frequently accessing porn becomes no watching porn, period. And that's what this video is about. Okay, that's what the true Nofap is. You'll go on the internet and you'll see different things. You'll see easy mode, hard mode, this mode. You may see people talking about things like they have abstained from fornication. The M for mother word, if you know what I'm talking about. They've abstained from fornication, yet they're still sitting down at their PCs watching porn. Again, personally I don't believe it, but I'm not here to judge them. Nofap means no watching porn, period. When you stop watching porn, you automatically stop fornicating. For men, because I know women out there, it works a lot differently for women, but for men, this is how it works. Okay, so now that we understand what Nofap means, I discovered it in December of last year, 2017. I'd gone 2 weeks without watching any porn, without fornicating, and I decided, right, because I've been trying to stop this thing for the last 20 years. I'll go into a quick story, again, trying not to make it boring, but basically when I got exposed to porn probably about 7, 6, very young age. Just clips of it. It's not like I sat down with adults watching porn, all of that. I would just see clips of it. Maybe sometimes the babysitters were watching it. Maybe sometimes they were having sex. Maybe sometimes they were nude, the babysitters, and we watched it. Caught glimpses of it. It's not watched it, But I was exposed to it from a young age, basically. And when I hit 14, which surprisingly is actually quite a common age for kids, for teenagers to start watching it, to start fornicating, not watching it, but to start fornicating. I was watching it well before then. I started fornicating at the age of 14, and I did have some sort of self-control, so I could say to myself, right, I'm not going to watch it for the next year, and I was able to do that. But then when I got to say 19 and the stresses of life were with me, and also got exposed to weed at the same time, the combination of the two, well, the three really, stress, weed, and the sex, meant that was my first addiction. That was my first time that I couldn't say to myself, right, I'm going to stop watching this and not be able to walk away from it. It was the first time that I felt like my soul had been taken from me. Someone had literally taken a piece of me, a piece of my soul. You know, I couldn't walk away from it, and even though I was walking around happy and this and that, there was always that little bit of guilt that was in, you know, that was kind of plaguing me, you know, a dark shadow. And for the last 20 years or so, I've been occasionally, every now and then, I've been trying to kind of stop myself from doing it. So let's get back to December 2017. So yep, I've gone 2 weeks. If you've studied my addiction video, number 2 I think, or number 1, then I've kind of explained this. I got past the 2 weeks and I said, right, let's try to give this thing a go. Went onto the internet, discovered these Nofap videos, and they were helpful. I mean, when you're going through that withdrawal symptoms, and this is why this is important as well, because this kind of touches on like little pieces that I missed out on the addiction videos, that when you do give up these things, and it could be anything, could be food, could be sex, could be alcohol, could be gambling, what else could it be? It could be Class A drugs. What else could it be? It could be things like anorexia, it could be whatever, because in my eyes they're all the same. For me to be honest with you, they're all the same. But I can't people won't believe it until they suffer from multiple addictions. Then they'll understand that the kind of withdrawal symptoms and the things that you go for are all the same. But what the most important thing is that, what I failed to explain in the last videos, is that when you do go through these withdrawal symptoms, and you don't have help, and you don't have support, you're going to be kind of very moody, you're going to be very aggressive, no one's going to want to be around you. Okay, and that's one thing that I failed to mention, is that I'm not going to lie to you, you're going to be a person that not many people want to be around. Okay, they're not going to want to be around you. I have many friends that when they're giving up things, like simple things like trying to give up cigarettes, I don't want them around me. I do not want them around me. I'll be honest about it. So with me, I was kind of isolated at the time. Past the 2 weeks, I was very isolated by myself. So I couldn't take out on anyone. No one had to go through abuse, mood swings, or anything like that. Went onto the internet, and the Nofap videos actually did give me support. They did give me support, because there's so many of them, and some people are posting the videos as they're going on their Nofap journey. So like every 5 days they'll post a video, every week. So it's giving you that motivation. You know, you're basically on the same path that person's on. You're going through your journey at the same time he's going through his journey or her journey. There's women out there that experienced that are on Nofap as well. It's good to know that you're not alone as you're going through this. And with me, like anything in life, if this person can do it, then I can do it. I've always been, that's how I am. If you can do it, I can do it. So if we go back to earlier years where I was on the internet, I just felt alone, felt really isolated. Whereas with these Nofap videos, they were regular. People were saying, you know, I'm on my 5th day of Nofap, and then a week later I'm on my 9th day. So when I was, after 2 weeks and I was going through these stresses, I was literally logging on every single day. Spent about 2 hours watching some of the videos. Some of the videos were very harsh. Some of the videos were saying, do you want to be a loser all your life? You're a wimp and you're weak, and very aggressive. very into shaming you and things like that. And again, one thing I've talked about in my addictions video is that there is no shame at all. It's your own journey that you're really on. It has nothing to do with somebody else. You're doing this because you want to do it. You don't need, but at the same time, sometimes depending on how you learn, because we all have different ways of learning, some people need to be talked down to in order for them to get the message. There's some people in life where when you speak to them in a nice way, they just don't get it. So you have to get aggressive and you have to get abusive, and it shocks them and it hurts them, and then they go away and they sit down in their rooms and they're really hurt by it, and then they think about the things that you've been saying and it goes over in their heads, and they finally get the message. Whereas other people, speaking to them properly is sufficient. You know, speaking to them with respect does the trick. Basically, you don't need to shame someone. So there were other videos, there's a mixture of videos. Some of them were like that. Other Nofap videos were more positive. Guys were really happy, smiling, dressed in suits. They've gone out there and they've got you know, they've got a makeover, you know, put on their I'm not into fashion. They put on is it Gamucci, Gabbana, whatever it is, and they're sitting down there and it's almost like they're a new man now. You know, now they're new, and they're telling you these amazing stories of Nofap, and you know how girls are suddenly all flooding to them and things like that, and they never had this attention before. And so there's there's one spectrum where people are really trying to degrade you and kind of beat it into you. Me personally, I got help from both of them. I took energy from both of these videos, but the former, the guy kind of being abusive and shaming and all of that, I'm not gonna lie, I maybe watched one of those kind of videos. In the end, I was more watching the positive type of videos, and that's what I'm trying to make my video on. I'm also trying to give back I'm trying to give back to the community as well, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been able to do it, you know. And I believe I just want to give back. I want to give back and say, right, it is possible, you know, because there was a coach that I watched online, and you know, I've seen some very good takes on this Nofap thing. You know, there was a coach that was saying that it reminded me of, remember the Wolf of Wall Street, where the guy was saying, I think it was like 10-15 minutes into the movie, when he goes to work for some company, and the guy says to him, listen, life is so stressful that when you're working in this environment, look, everyone's on drugs here, we're all doing something just to cope with the stress, and you got to beat off about 7 times a day. It just has to be done, man. It's a natural thing, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, there's so much tension, you just got to release it. I whack off at least 7 times a day, that's what I do. And you know, this coach was kind of saying the same thing. He was saying that it would be silly not to do it, because the amount of stress that he has, or the amount of things he has to deal with, he just has to kind of release that stress, you know. And he was saying that if he didn't, he was just walking around, he'd be walking around always turned on, you know, especially him as a personal trainer. He's saying that he'd always be walking around with a boner, basically. There's no way he could get through his day without it, you know. And again, Joe Rogan kind of said the same thing. But he also, what Joe Rogan also mentioned, he said, listen, if you don't end up beating off, then what you're going to end up doing is you're going to go out there seeking promiscuous relationships. You'll have relationships with women that you're not really, and women as well. Women will have relationships with men that they're not really interested in. It was just strictly sexually based, and it will kind of encourage that promiscuous way of life. So I don't see how you could do it. I don't see how it would be possible. But what I'm here to tell you is that it is possible. It is possible. Okay, so this is going to be the first video anyway. I hope it has been interesting enough for you, and I'm going to get into a few more things in the second video. My experiences, because like I said, I made it past the 2 weeks, and then I'm going to explain what happened after 2 months, what happened after 3 months. You know, is it good to continuously post videos on these things on the Nofap and update your whole life and share it with the world? Are these things good? Is it good to try and just hold out until, like I did, until a full year and then come out and say it? We're gonna ask ask those questions, and we're gonna kind of, we're gonna give the answers to them. So I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.